Hi, welcome to Tom's Hit Parade. Why am I not more of a fan of Elton John? I mean, at least considering how little space he takes up in my collection. I've got his 2-disc 2002 Greatest Hits album and a more obscure 10-track collection of songs. I got a duets disc, and I've got his albums Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Wonderful Crazy Night, and also his album The Union with Leon Russell. But, you know, other than that, that's it. I mean, considering that I pretty much buy a Elton John tribute album at the drop of a hat, you'd think I have more of his studio albums, at least, especially his classic ones. Anyway, that is actually what today's episode is about, is Elton John tribute albums. Specifically 2 that just came out a couple weeks ago simultaneously, Revamp and Restoration. And they're both subtitled Reimagining the Songs of Elton John and Bernie Taupin. I mean, let's face it, Elton John is pretty much the best pop song composer alive today, and honestly, when it comes to lyricists, there's really no toppin'. Anyway, now Revamp sees a variety of pop, rock, and R&B artists covering Elton John songs, while Restoration sees an array of country and folk artists do the same. Different songs, but the same concept. I listened to Revamp first, and I'm kind of glad I did, because that way 2 of the most disappointing songs were got out of the way right off the bat. It starts off with rock diva Pink and hip-hop artist Logic doing a cover of Benny and the Jets. Now, it's no secret, at least I don't think it is, that I'm not much of a fan of hip-hop, and especially when hip-hop is infused into a cover of a song that didn't have hip-hop to begin with, it rarely if ever works, at least for me, and Benny and the Jets sadly is no exception. I mean, I love the original song, it's just, you know, with the hip-hop element, you know, I just don't care for it. And the second track is Coldplay covering We All Fall in Love Sometimes. And I mean, again, I like Coldplay, but they seem to have such a unique sound, you know, of their own, that, I mean, I don't know if it's just this song choice or if it's just the concept in general of them doing songs by other artists. The fact that I'm not very familiar with the song We All Fall in Love Sometimes should have meant, at least through my way of thinking, that the cover would have worked, but for some reason it, you know, again, for me it felt kind of flat. But after that, I mean, the album just takes off like a rocket, man. Okay, that's the last one, I promise. Alicia Cara does a cover of I Guess That's Why They Call It the Blues, and that's just excellent, excellent. And then we have Ed Sheeran singing Candle in the Wind, which is, I mean, that's just a natural fit for him. It's just fantastic. And that's followed up by one of my favorite songs, Tiny Dancer, being performed by Florence and the Machine, and that is one of the standouts of this album, honestly. And then Someone Saved My Life Tonight is tackled by Mumford & Sons, which is, again, it's very good, very good. And then Mary J. Blige sings Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word, and that's fantastic. But then there's another kind of a misstep for me, and again it involves hip-hop. Q-Tip and Demi Lovato sing Don't Go Breaking My Heart, and I'm kind of indifferent on the song, you know, the original song Don't Go Breaking My Heart, and neither Q-Tip nor Demi Lovato have ever done much for me. So again, that's just kind of, you know, that song is just kind of for me. But then the album just bounces right back. Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters, again, one of my favorite Elton John songs, probably because of my fondness for the movie Almost Famous. Both that one and Tiny Dancer are featured prominently in that movie. The Killers do Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters, and that is one of the standout tracks on this song. They really surprised me with how excellent a job they did on that one. And then Sam Smith does a great cover of Daniel. And then we have a 1-2 punch of pop divas Miley Cyrus and Lady Gaga. And Miley Cyrus does Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. She does a fantastic job on that one. And I guess that's a word I'm using a lot, isn't it? Fantastic. And then Your Song is performed by Lady Gaga. And now, to be honest, it took me a while to warm up to both of these because, you know, over the first couple listens, it just felt like They were both kind of over-singing, especially on the quieter parts of the songs. But then, you know, when I finally realized that's kind of what they do. I mean, they just take the songs that they're given, they just take by the you-know-whats and do what they want to do with them. And so, you know, once that just kind of dawned on me, you know, I warmed up to these songs much more. And so yeah, they just do great jobs on those songs. And then capping off this album is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Queens of the Stone Age. And again, like the Killers with their song, Queens of the Stone Age really surprised me. I just didn't think that either of those bands would do well with Elton John songs. But I mean, whoever was behind this project picked a fantastic array of artists, and for the most part, the songs matched the artists perfectly. But you know, as much as I loved Revamp, I think I might actually enjoy Restoration a little bit more. Now, it does take a different approach, though. Restoration, as I said, is country and folk artists tackling Elton John songs, and one of the things that that is the mark of a really good song, and by extension a really good songwriter or songwriting team, is how well a song translates into other genres, like country, for example. Now, the array of artists featured on this album is just as impressive as on Revamp, but the song choices are a little less conventional. Several of the songs are less popular singles or album cuts that never got much radio play on their own, but that's kind of to be expected. I mean, you know, they would naturally choose songs that would lend themselves more to a country adaptation. But as I said, I just love this album too, just as much as Revamp, possibly a little more. It starts off with Little Big Town doing a fantastic cover of Rocket Man. It's kind of soft and almost a cappella in a way, and it just absolutely soars like a rocket, I guess. So that was just beautiful. And then Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters, which is also covered on Revamp, is done on this album by Maren Morris, and she does just a wonderful take on that. I have not delved into Maren Morris, and I'm tempted to by how well she does on this song. Following that is the duo of Don Henley from the Eagles and Vince Gill singing Sacrifice, and their harmony on that song is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I just love it. One of the best songs on the album, definitely. Excuse me, my voice is starting to go. And then we have the Brothers Osborne performing Take Me to the Pilot, followed by Miranda Lambert singing My Father's Gun, and then Chris Stapleton doing I Want Love. Now, you know, now these three songs are, you know, lesser known songs, you know, lower profile songs, I guess you'd say. And I'm not particularly fond of any of those three artists in particular, but, you know, they do excellent jobs on them. It's just, you know, overall, they're just kind of, they're okay. But then the album comes back in a fantastic way. We have Leanne Womack singing a cover of Honky Cat, and she gives it a bit of a Cajun treatment with an accordion in the mix. Of course, there are a couple of references to New Orleans in the lyrics, which so that kind of stands to reason. But yeah, that is just one of the best songs on this album. And then we have Casey Musgraves, my girl Casey Musgraves, singing Roy Rogers. And then after that, the duo of Rhonda Vincent and Dolly Parton sing Please. And again, that's one of the lesser known songs from Elton John's catalog. But then we have Miley Cyrus, who is the only artist to sing on both Revamp and Restoration. Miley Cyrus does a cover of The Bitch Is Back, which, I mean, that's kind of a match made in heaven for her. And she does just as great a job on this as she does on Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me on Revamp. Although she injects sound bites of farm animals into the mix, and so I'm not quite sure what's up with that. But anyway, it's just a fun song, you know. And then we have Dierks Bentley doing a cover of Sad Songs Say So Much, which is a bit of an odd match of artist to song, but it works. I mean, it just definitely works. And then one of the more recent singles of his, This Train Don't Stop There Anymore, performed by Roseanne Cash and Emmylou Harris. That's just excellent. I mean, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Emmylou from the trio album that she did with Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt. And then closing off this album is the reigning king of country music, Willie Nelson, singing an absolutely beautiful cover of Border Song. So again, as you can see, just as an impressive an array of talent on Restoration as on Revamp. So just, yeah, if you're even slightly tempted to pick up Elton John tribute albums, these two are both winners. I highly recommend both of them. And as I said, for as little space as Elton John takes up on my CD collection shelf here, I seem to have a penchant for tribute albums. This one is actually was in my sister's collection, so that's the main reason I have it. 2 rooms celebrating the songs of Elton John and Bernie Taupin. This one was put out in 1991, and it has, for its day, just as smashing collection of artists on it as Revamp and Restoration. Eric Clapton sings Border Song. Sting does Come Down in Time, which I'm not familiar with. The Who perform Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. I mean, that's just fantastic. I mean, it's The Who, so they're fantastic. The Beach Boys sing Crocodile Rock. Tina Turner sings The Bitch Is Back on this one, and that's just fantastic. Daryl Hall and John Oates do a rendition of Philadelphia Freedom. Rod Stewart sings Your Song, which is an interesting choice. Oleta Adams does Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. And George Michael sings Tonight. So, I mean, if you like Revamp and Restoration, pick this one up. And conversely, if you've got this one and you love it, you've got to get Revamp and Restoration. I mean, fantastic. And then I have actually a 4th Elton John tribute, although it's kind of an unconventional one. It might be hidden in your CD collection without even realizing it. It's not its own self-contained album. It's actually the first half of the second disc of the deluxe edition of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. It's a 9-disc block called Goodbye Yellow Brick Road Revisited. And again, similar to these other tributes, it's contemporary artists doing covers of Elton John songs. The difference being these are all songs off of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, so it's a 1-album Elton John tribute. Now, curiously, Ed Sheeran performs Candle in the Wind on this album as he does on Revamp, but it is a different recording, actually. And then we have, I don't know what it is about Benny and the Jets being infused with hip-hop, but again, like on Revamp, Miguel and Whale do a rendition of Benny and the Jets on this one, and again, it's got hip-hop in it. I don't know. Anyway. And then probably the selling point for me on this one was Hunter Hayes. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Hunter Hayes, and he does the title track, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and he does an absolutely beautiful job on it. Hunter Hayes is an underrated artist, in my opinion. And then we've got the Band Perry performing Grey Seal, Emily Sandé doing a cover of All the Girls Love Alice, Imelda May does Your Sister Can't Twist But She Can Rock and Roll, Fall Out Boy does Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, and they do it without any of their, or with very little anyway, of their emo tendencies. And then Zac Brown Band closes out this block with the song Harmony. So yeah, if you like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, I recommend the 2-disc deluxe edition. And the second half of the second disc, by the way, is highlights from his Hammersmith Odeon concert in December of 1973. So yeah, definitely worth picking up. So yeah, that is my tribute to Elton John tributes. Do you have a favorite Elton John cover song performed by another artist? I'd like to know what it is and where I can find it. Let me know in the comments. And subscribe if you haven't yet. The red subscribe button is right down below here. If it's turned gray, then you're already subscribed. And again, thank you so much for watching, and remember, life's too short to be a music snob.